edit demo for your multiplicity project. So first, if I imported all of my pictures into Lightroom, I went through and picked the ones that I wanted and I filtered them by rated. So I want these, so I'm gonna hit Command A for select all or shift click. I'm gonna go to library. I'm going to export into a multiplicity folder, export. And then I'm going to open Photoshop. If yours doesn't live here, you can go to Applications, Photoshop, and find it. So I'm going to File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack. And then I browse, and I need to find my multiplicity. I'm going to select all of them and then hit Open, and I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to load all of them individually. So instead of place embedded, I'm gonna load them all as one. So I did this. Then I need to make sure I put them in order. So here is my pictures. So this one's on top, so I'm gonna turn it off. And I just wanna make sure that the background picture is on the bottom, which it is. And if I need to move it, you can click and drag, but you want the background to be on the bottom. And I will name it background so that I don't forget. Then I am going to remove the background and leave the person. So I'm going to click on the top one and hit the eyeball so I can see it. And then I'm going to use my object selection tool and make sure I'm on add to. And if I click and hold and drag, it'll let me select the area I want. So there I am selected. And then I'm going to hit select and mask so that it fixes my hair. I'm gonna hit refine hair and it's gonna make the hair better. I'm gonna feather the edges just a little bit and then I'm gonna hit OK. And then I'm going to add a layer mask. So now, here's me. You can tell the top of my head is weird. I'll go back and fix it later. So I'm gonna click on the next one. I have to make sure I have the picture selected. And then if I just hit remove background, it might do a good job, it might not. Normally it's gonna like forget my feet and stuff. See how it added? It added a lot more things to the background than I want. So I'm going to delete that layer mask and I'm gonna use my object selection and I'm gonna click on myself, and then it forgot my feet. So I'm gonna make sure I'm on this add to button. I'm gonna try and move this thing out of the way. There we go. And I'm gonna try and add my feet, and it can't find my feet. So I'm gonna switch to my selection brush, make sure I'm on add, and I'm just gonna add my feet. And I'm gonna use my bracket key. I'm gonna add this whole thing, and then I'm gonna go to subtract, like this, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna select and mask, and I'm gonna hit the refine hair button because it normally does better with the hair. And then I can also put on a layer mask, so it's gonna make the layer mask for me. Okay, so then I'm gonna turn on the next one and I'm gonna turn this guy off so I don't get confused. So I'm using the object selection thing. I can also try select people. I want the entire person, apply. But you see my shadow, if I don't add my shadow now, I'm gonna have to add it later. So let's see. Nope, I don't want that. So I'm gonna use my selection brush and make sure I'm on add. And I'm gonna add my shadow. Actually, I'm gonna add and select people, entire person, apply. And then I'm gonna see if it can find my shadow. So it did, and then I'm gonna add a little bit. So I'm clicking and dragging, so that's better. And then this is the layer mask icon. Oh, there's a little piece I don't want. So I'm gonna go to subtract and get rid of this little piece, and then I'm gonna add a layer mask. Okay, and I'm gonna go to the next one. I'm gonna select myself. And it also selected some of the chair, but I wanna make sure it gets my shadow. So I'm gonna switch to my selection brush and I'm gonna brush in this area as well so I get all the shadow. And then I'm gonna add, make sure I'm on the right layer. I'm gonna add a layer mask. And then I'm gonna turn this one on. Again, I'm gonna select myself. And I'm gonna add a layer mask. Last one, I'm gonna select myself. And then, ooh, I got my shadow that time, great. I'm gonna add my layer mask. And then I'm gonna turn them all back on. And you'll see this is a problem. This doesn't look right with both of these in here. So I'm just gonna turn this guy off. And you can see I'm like floating on the table. The lineup is not good. So I'm gonna switch to my move tool. And I'm going to move them so that they're in the right plot. So I'm gonna hit plus, I'm gonna hold the space bar, and I'm gonna move, and I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard, and I'm gonna line up the table. And then I still think it looks weird. So I'm gonna click on my layer mask. I'm gonna hit add to mask, and I'm going to paint back this like section so that I see like the shadows. I also feel like it did something weird to my head. And if it's in the right position, me going over the edges like this isn't gonna change anything. So this one's fine. So I'm gonna go back to my move tool. I'm gonna click on the picture and it'll select the layer. Space bar, and I'm going to move. Look, I'm missing my feet. So I'm gonna click on the layer mask, add to mask, or if it's white, I can use the paintbrush tool and it does the same thing. But you can see I'm like floating in the air. And it did weird things to my hair. I'm gonna make sure I have all my body parts. And now I'm gonna switch to the move tool. And I'm gonna move it to have it line up. And I'm using the arrow keys here to line it up better. And it looks like I'm actually way over here standing, and it got hit a lot when it got moved over, weird. So I'm using the arrow keys, and you see I'm like lining up the spots. So now I am going to get rid of that one and use this one instead. So then if I click on this one, I have auto select on, so it'll pick this picture, and then I can move it to where it actually belongs. And you can see like the benches aren't matching up. So I go through and move them till they look good. And then I'm gonna have to deal with the things like this, like shadow needs to go underneath that one, and then I need to like fix it. So I'm using the layer masks, finding the picture it's on, clicking on it, and I'm gonna add to my mask. Oop. Problem is it's this one, so I'm gonna click on this one, click on the layer mask, I'm gonna subtract. And as I subtract from this mask, it's showing the shadow. And I could zoom in even more and fix it using my bracket key. Oop. So I'm gonna hit X, and it's gonna switch so that my shoe isn't weird. I'm gonna hit X, and it's gonna paint black. So I'm going in with the details and making them better. So this is one that I already did. I accidentally added a type layer. So once this one is pretty, I would go in and make sure all the layer masks are pretty. I'm going to crop it. I'm gonna choose a 5x7, and I'm gonna flip it the other way so I can crop it however I want. And this one's crooked and bugs me, so I'm gonna use a straighten tool. Click and hold, and it'll angle it a little bit, so I'm gonna crop it. I'm gonna use an adjustment layer. So these are like your filters or like presets in Lightroom, and then single adjustments. I wanna make the whole thing more bright. So I'm gonna turn up my saturation, and I think it's a little blue. So I'm gonna make it a little more yellow. And then as you can see, it wasn't at the top, so I'm gonna put it at the top. Okay, so I have this one. If you zoom in, I'm lined up. It's pretty. You can tell I have shadows. They're not overlapping. I'm not missing any parts. And if I want to know if it looks okay, I can turn these layers on and off and look for any weird spots that look like I'm like missing something. So this last one, I think that's all the shadow, but to check, I can add to mask. Oh, no, see? And just paint it back, any little piece of the shadow that I might be missing. And then I'm going to File, Save As. I'm gonna name it Multiplicity. It's a Photoshop file, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna hit OK. I'm gonna File, Save as a Copy. That's to finish. File, Save as a Copy. Make it a JPEG. Hit Save. I want a quality is fine. And then I'm gonna Command Shift 4 and take a screenshot showing all of my layers. And that is it. Happy editing.